major worry, especially when we first found out the diagnosis, which was about May-ish, was we already knew we were pregnant because the baby was conceived in January, and one of my first thoughts was, oh my gosh, so he had cancer when this baby was conceived. Does that mean, he injected me with cancer sperm and they were like gonna give our baby cancer, and that's gonna be a really hard thing to deal with and scary. But then the doctor assuaged our fears and said, no, that's not how it works. So, because having one person in my family with cancer is hard enough. So I'm glad that fear was not realized.
Yeah, it's good.
Your oncologist. How did you feel about him?
Pretty good. I thought he was pretty old school on a lot of things, but
very straight to the point too.
Yeah, and he was like, all right, looks like your stage and everything else, we don't have to pay a lot of attention to you. I guess, I don't know, but he's there. Here's your treatment plan, and then he handed it off to the nurse practitioners, and they took it from there. So we've only really seen him those first 2 times, and then we'll see him again next week for the follow-up.
Yeah. And he didn't even want you to have the Neulasta shot because he looked at your labs and everything, and all your labs were good. Mm-hmm. But then after your first chemo treatment, of course, they took some more blood, and they were like, yeah, we're going to do the Neulasta shot.
Yeah, and that was no fun. Mostly what happened, so Neulasta, that it helps you to replenish your white blood cells. So they give you a little shot in the back of the arm, and then they say take some Claritin because it's going to make your bones hurt.
We don't know why,
yeah.
But Claritin's supposed to help you.
Yeah. So yeah, my back hurt, my hips, and my thighs, the bones, my femurs, all hurt, and it just felt kind of like an achy, almost like growing pains or something like that. And the Claritin did help, and so I would take those, and and it was just another thing that I would do. So it was chemo one day, the infusion one day, and then the Neulasta shot the next day. So I was already tired and out of it, and so for those 4 or 5 days, they're the worst after the chemo. I'm sleeping a lot, but I'm also in pain. My whole body hurts, my mouth feels weird. Mm-hmm. So that was an unpleasant experience. Mm-hmm. But the Neulasta shot seemed to help. My white blood cell counts were good after that, so huzzah.
Something else that we talked about with the doctor too was, especially when we were very new to this and we were very gung-ho, we wanted to attack it from all sides, and so I was like, all right, we're going to cut out sugar, we're going to cut out carbs, refined carbs, and we're going to cut out processed foods. We're just going to really do a healthier diet. We already eat pretty healthy, but this was going to be like super healthy. And then we were like, what do you think? And he was like, you can eat whatever you want.
Yeah, that was a bit surprising.
Like, what now?
No.
But then when you went to the specialist in Charlotte, she was a little more supportive.
She said basically do a pregnancy diet. So things like lunch meats, I can have bacteria and stuff on them that my body might not be able to process as well or fight off as well because of compromised immune system from the chemo. No honey, and I think that was about it. And I was like, what about refined or what about like sugar intake and stuff like that? She's like, is eating refined sugar and processed food good for you anyway? And I'm like, no. She's like, well, there you go. Just eat healthy. So,
I liked her view on it a lot better than his.
But yeah, she was much more for eat healthy. And she said there's not a lot of data on it because they just don't have a lot of studies on that. But she did say eating healthy leads to a healthy body. So a healthy body is a good thing, whether or not you have cancer. So she did encourage us to go ahead with that kind of a diet. But I did intermittent fasting beforehand.
And they didn't really have an opinion on that either. They were kind of like...
Yeah, she said, the specialist was like, there's no data. Everything I'm saying here is anecdotal evidence.
I did find one study. I'll link it and put it up on the screen. But we were kind of going off that.
I did it for the first, third, and fourth infusions, but I did not do it before the second one.
Did you just forget, or did...
I can't remember. There was something else going on, and I just kept eating. But,
just kept eating.
So what I would do is, Sunday, kind of calorie reduction, and so oftentimes I would fast before church anyway, and so I wouldn't eat until we had lunch. So that really wasn't out of the routine. So have lunch, have a light dinner, and I would eat one meal a day starting. I had infusions on Wednesday mornings. So usually Monday, I would kind of start Sunday, Monday, one meal.
And these meals were they were very lean, no sugar, no whites, basically, no bread, no potatoes, no rice.
Yeah,
anything
hardly
like
had
that.
any potatoes throughout this, which has been really hard for me.
Yeah.
And coffee too, because coffee has just tasted weird until recently.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And Tuesday, more of the same, just real light food, real light dinner. Wednesday, I would eat breakfast. Usually, I think I ate cereal every time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
Did you?
I think I wanted the fiber, and constipation. Then I would eat a little bit, if I was awake after the infusion. That seemed to mitigate the effects. I did that the first, third, and fourth time. The second infusion, I didn't fast before it, and that was the worst one.
Yeah.
I was constipated. I was more nauseous. I felt worse. My mouth sores were a little worse.
You felt worse for longer, too.
Yeah. And I usually say the first infusion is the worst one, but the second one was worse for me, and that was the only one I didn't fast on. So is that correlation or causation? I don't know. That was my experience. I can't say, hey, everybody needs to go intermittent fast, and that's going to help you.
But I would look into it.
I'm not a medical doctor. I can't give you advice. But it helped me. So there you go. If enough people do it, maybe you could get a study or something like that. And hey, here's the data from this. But
Which I really wonder if that had an impact on the growth, because this type that you had was supposed to be very aggressive, and yet you had it for August till so did that slow it down? I don't know.
Yeah,
interesting, because it stayed local in your neck.
Yeah.
It's not like it, I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah. Supplements. What are we going to say about supplements?
Well, I think I was just going to mention, that we did vitamin C and vitamin D and
alfalfa.
What's
alfalfa?
For constipation, and one other thing. You just started a vitamin B for neuropathy.
Yeah.
And that was at the recommendation of the nurse practitioner.
Right.
So
So
has that been helping you?
Yeah, a little bit. Still have it, and it seems to come and go. So just tingly on the tips of my fingers, and that's about it. But yeah, I'll take vitamin B once a day, and it has seemed to help, but it hasn't gone away. And she said it could take a while for it to take effect fully, and if it doesn't, then they might try something else with it.
So was there any silver lining to any of this? Maybe just the timing, I guess.
The timing, having you guys take care of me. Our church helped out a lot.
They've been a huge blessing.
Brought food, came over and prayed with us, checked up on us.
Moral support. I think that was the most important, was just letting us know that they were there for us.
Yeah.
That they were praying for us.
Yeah. we didn't really need that much.
No.
As far as
we needed pats on the back.
Yeah.
Like, you can do this. You can get through this.
Yeah. And keeping a positive attitude.
Yeah.
Once I got the staging, it wasn't. I was like, okay, I can do this. I can get through this. I think the biggest worry at the very beginning was that I would leave my wife with 3 kids all alone. And then once I got the staging, I was like, okay, I can survive this and keep contributing to my family and be here for them. So that was a huge boost in morale, just that right there.
It was hard for me too, because I don't see you as a weak person. I see you as, like, strong leader for our family and protective, and like, there's not a lot in my eyes that you can't do. And so seeing you just absolutely maxed out where you have to sleep literally all day, I was like, this is really hard on him. And it was just weird for me seeing him so weak. I mean, you were weak, but
yeah.
I've not ever, even when you're sick, I've not really seen you that weak before. And like, it really makes you appreciate everything that you do. I mean, of course I try and do that anyway, but it just elevates everything,
Yeah.
I guess.
That's hard seeing people feel helpless too. It's like there was nothing to really do to help me. It's like, well, let me sleep.
Yeah.
And
bring you your meds and
feed me every once in a while if I can eat. Yeah. Another silver lining. I don't know. Getting to know some nice people at the infusion center.
They've been really great.
They
You got to ring
really
your bell. Ding ding.
Yeah.
So, I didn't get to go because of COVID. Thanks.
Yeah.
But they videoed it, and I'll insert a video.
Yeah. And I don't know. It was just being able to be an encouragement to other people too. That I know everybody's cancer journey is probably different, but the things that kept me going were my faith and my family and a positive attitude.
Yeah.
So if you find yourself with this or a family member, try and be encouraging to them. There might not be a lot you can do, but going over to their house and doing the dishes for them, that's a huge thing. Or, hey, we brought you Bojangles. The spicy food's not that good.
Maybe not the most healthy of meals.
But, bring them food. Do something nice for them.
Watch their kids.
Watch their kids, yes. We're not worried financially with this. None of that can be a burden for some people. So, I don't know, we've been truly blessed. Out of, the surgeon said, out of all the bad things that could have cut out of your neck, that was the best of the bad things.
Bad thing.
Yeah. And I guess that's been, pretty true. We've, for having cancer, this has been a pretty easy journey for me.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people have it a lot worse than I do. So, yeah, pray for people and help them in whatever material ways you can too, or just as an encouragement to them.
Yeah. If someone called you and they just got the diagnosis, let's say like yesterday, and called you and said, what can you tell me? Like, what would be the things that you would want to tell them?
Probably want to tell them, keep their chin up, pray, tell your family you love them, get off of this, spend more time in the real world and appreciate what you have. I think that's probably the biggest thing for me, is it made me appreciate what I have much more. I thought I did a good job with that, but having that blow of like, oh, you're relatively young, and now you have a life-threatening disease, really puts things into perspective. I would tell people to stay positive and all those other things.
Well, I hope this is helpful to anyone out there who is just starting this journey, or maybe is in the middle of this journey,
Or knows somebody who's going through
it.
Go do their dishes. Bring them food, not potatoes, but bring them food.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing spicy.
Right. Just wanted to share our experience and hopefully help someone else out the same way that strangers making videos helped me out. I don't know if you watched any, but
A couple.
I watched some and they're encouraging to say the least. All right. Until next time.
Welcome to Unsolved Mysteries. On tonight's episode.
Okay, I did have to watch this and cut it all out. If you want, it's up to you, but you can talk with your hands here. It's more interesting to look at than just us going